what about Jimmy Garoppolo's performance was enhanced? What does he need to do to get his career back on track?
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Buonantony, on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The appointments are lined up.
You waiting for somebody in there?
Got an appointment.
And it's not about what you want to hear, but what you need to hear.
It's not personal. It's strictly business. It's time you and me had a private talk, Winger. Step into my office.
It's Step Into My Office with Michael Lombardi. Mr. Lombardi, we'll see you now.
Mr. Lombardi will see you now. Jimmy Garoppolo, who was suspended for 2 games to the start of next season by the NFL for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. Now, he was already going to be released by the Raiders, but this suspension now should void his $11.25 million guaranteed salary. When Jimmy G inevitably hits the free agent market again, Michael, we love that coach speak, control your controllables. What does he need to do to get his career back on track?
Well, Jimmy, you're going to be 33 years old when you start the 24 season. And, you know, we know this. You've played 1 year, 2019, where you started all the games. So I think what you have written all over you at this point in your career at 33 years old is you're going to have to go somewhere and be a backup. And you're going to have to embrace the backup role. Go to a comfortable offense that you feel good about, whether it's down in Houston, you know, where you know DeMeco Ryans, or it's Washington, where you feel comfortable, or maybe even New Orleans, you know, where you could be a backup to Derek Carr, who may not play, but at least you know Clint Kubiak, and you can get comfortable with the offense that you were with at San Francisco, and then just ride your career out. Know that that's where you're going to be, because we know durability has been the biggest issue. And I think when you look at your career, you know, I don't know why the PED policy was part of what you're doing. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that you're probably trying to get your foot healed, and you took something that was in the banned substance policy. That's just my read on the situation, no facts. But for me, I think, Jimmy, your career needs to turn towards a backup and be ready to play, because at 33, no one's going to give you a starting job. So pick the place that you want to go to that you feel most comfortable with and go.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, too. On social media, everyone is like, what about Jimmy Garoppolo's performance was enhanced? And by the way, we give so much love to Brock Purdy on this show because he doesn't get it elsewhere. Jimmy Garoppolo's lack of success outside of San Francisco is another reason why Purdy gets so many of the knocks that he does. But that's a conversation for another day, Michael. Let's go to Russell Wilson. There was a report over the weekend that Wilson put up his Denver mansion for sale. Not a shock. We've been talking about this since he was benched in December, that it's not working out for him in Denver. The Broncos likely to release Wilson. He's guaranteed $39 million from the Broncos this year. There's nothing they can do about that. Have to pay him no matter what. So how should Wilson approach this season, likely heading to his third team in 4 years?
Well, I think the first thing you should do, Russell, is not take any less money. You got a guaranteed, you know, to your career. You've worked your tail off. You're going to be 36 years old. You know, the last 3 seasons haven't been kind of what you wanted it to be. You haven't had a winning season since you go back to the 2020 season. So I think you got a great opportunity to pick and choose, right? What do you want to do? Who are you? And what do you want to become? And that opportunity has nothing to do with money. It's all going to be about fit for you. Will somebody give you a starting job? I could see somebody telling you to come in and compete. But I think that's where you are in your career is, are you willing to compete for a starting job? Because no one's going to want to just pay you like a starter. You're not going to be able to, no one's taking the Broncos off the hook of that contract with $39 million. So you're going to get a minimum salary contract somewhere else, perhaps with a chance for some incentives based on winning, I would suspect. But I think that's where you are, and you got to pick the right spot, whether it's somewhere you're comfortable with or somebody you're comfortable with offensively to handle this part of your career. Because, look, we have such short memories in the NFL. No one's going to view you as a Hall of Famer if the last 4 years of your career have been as bad as they are. And we know 21 was bad. We know 22 was bad. And whatever you want to say about 23, it certainly wasn't a Hall of Fame career. So this is a make or break year for you, and you got to pick the right place. And whatever that right place is, because all we've heard from Seattle was to let you cook, and they kept changing coaches. So I'm really not even sure what offense works for you right now. That's only for you to understand, and I think that's going to be the place you got to go to, where you can shine in the best light.
Yeah, he certainly showed improvement from the disastrous 2022 season, but the 2023 numbers still a far cry from what we were accustomed to seeing from the early part of his career in Seattle. The Steelers are an even money favorite to land Russell Wilson this coming year. The Broncos plus 350 to remain there, plus 450 with the Falcons. I'm surprised that Denver is even that high. I don't get it. Sierra?
I don't understand that, but why are the Steelers, though? See, like, for me, okay, unless Tomlin, I know he's getting ready to come in my office, but I think I can't see Russell going to Pittsburgh unless they told him he's the starter. Now it's the perfect situation for Pittsburgh because they don't have to pay him anything, and Pittsburgh doesn't want to pay a guy. They want a guy to come in and compete. So I could see that one. I could see it makes, the more I talk about it, it makes more sense. Whereas I just don't see Pittsburgh paying money for a quarterback.
You know what I thought of that I'm sure I'm off my rocker, but I would have loved to see Russell Wilson go to Carolina. He has a relationship with Canales from Seattle. I'm not sure Bryce Young, have an opportunity to maybe redo his rookie year behind a veteran. I would like it. I don't think that it's realistic. He's a 35-1 shot to land with the Panthers, but go back home to Carolina. I think it's interesting. Just going to throw it out there.
I think it is interesting. I do. I think it is interesting, and I'm sure Canales would welcome it, and it would give some competition. But, I think part of that conversation is, Russ, where are you right now? What do you want to do? Do you want to, say Jimmy knows he has to be a backup. He doesn't have anything. This kid, Russell Wilson, still thinks he's a starter. He still sees his life as a starter. And I think sometimes we as fans view somebody else should take a reduced role when we think it's best for us, when they may not want to do that, right? And you got to look somebody in the eye and say, yeah, I know where I am. When Kurt Warner left the Giants, it was because he wasn't playing very well. And he goes out to Arizona and takes a backup role there. And then eventually he gets his career back on track. That would be the story I would be singing to Russell. I would be saying, look, you can be the next Kurt Warner here. If you get your career back like Warner did, it's going to put you in the Hall of Fame. Because I think if Warner doesn't have that second stint at Arizona, I don't think he gets in the Hall of Fame. So to me, I would be talking about Kurt Warner to Russell Wilson saying, okay, here's your opportunity to get your career back where it was. Because there was a time where I was certain he was going to be in the Hall of Fame. Now I'm not.
I love that. Very interesting conversation as we continue this offseason. But let's go to the Steelers because Mike Tomlin does have an appointment. He needs a little conversation here, Michael. Now, early reports are that the Steelers are looking to bring in competition for Kenny Pickett, and rightfully so. They're trying to re-sign Mason Rudolph, it appears. They release Mitchell Trubisky, both Russell Wilson, who we just talked about, and Justin Fields. Pittsburgh is favored in both of those markets for those quarterbacks at DraftKings. So how if you're Mike Tomlin today, how are you approaching fixing this QB situation?
I think you made a really good hire in Arthur Smith. And I know that's not going to be a popular conversation a lot of people are going to have, but you made a good hire because he fits exactly what you want to do with creativity. He can throw the football when you need to throw it. He's got a drop back pass game and he can run the ball. And he's a very good run game guy. So I think what you got to do is rely on him. And rely on the fact that you are going to build the team around the quarterback. And what Rudolph showed you in the games, and maybe he didn't show it to you in practice, but he did, was the ability to complete the passes that you have to complete, right? I mean, it's just, we couldn't get that out of Trubisky. We couldn't seem to get that out of Pickett quite often. But I do think you need to put somebody else in the room that's going to drive competition. Nothing drives competition more than bringing somebody in from the outside with no promises. Whether that's Russell Wilson, whether it's Justin Fields, whoever comes into the room is coming in with no promises. And if you can do that, then you could be like you're back at Denbighshire High School, back at Newport News, where you grew up, and you could say to yourself, hey, it's high school. Everybody's up for it. Denbigh, whether it's Alvin Bethea, whether it's Max Yates, whoever came from that high school with you, Mike, you could say it's all up for grabs. What do we learn about high school? High school is all competition. If you're a freshman or you're a senior, you don't have the job. You have to earn the job. That's the quarterback position in Pittsburgh. I think that's what you should do. Just wear your Denbigh hat around.
I know their owner Art Rooney has made comments that they believe in Kenny Pickett. I just feel for him. I wonder if whoever they bring in, if he can beat that guy out. I don't think that he'll be able to. I don't know. I don't know. Hot take, Stormy, today.
I don't know. Here's the part, and I know we got to go to break. Does the team believe in Kenny Pickett? Yeah. That's the biggest issue.